Brew Strong is brought to you by Blickman Engineering, home of the top-tier brewing stand. Visit them online at blickmanengineering.com.
It's time for the beer radio you've been looking for. This is the show that dispels myths, tackles the toughest topics, and makes no apologies for geeking out on beer. Hosted by two guys that drink before they think. Jamil and John Palmer. This is Brew Strong.
Hey, howdy. Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters.
Greetings, cretins.
Ah, another fine day in the studio.
Yes, it is, actually.
Lovely downtown Martinez.
Yes. My home away from home.
Yeah.
Away from home, home. So I guess it's about 5 removed, but still.
Yeah, you're quite the world traveler. You were just in lovely Bangor.
Yes, Bangor, the home of Stephen King. And
you and Steve hang out?
No, not this time.
No?
No. And listen, I guess, it's my first trip to Bangor, really, so I guess, not this time. Still not this time, but hopefully sometime in the future get a chance to have a beer with him or something.
Yeah.
Or, being Stephen King, who knows exactly what...
Steve doesn't hang at your house?
No.
When he's out this way?
Hasn't called.
Well, he's busy with probably all the Hollywood types. And
yeah. He just drops off the
He's probably
dog.
staying at Push's house.
Yeah, there you go. Everybody else does. Yeah. But, great time there in Bangor. Rained like cats and dogs on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
First day of the music festival. They have a really nice music festival there. It's called the Kabang Fest. And they had like 70 different bands from all over the Eastern Seaboard. Mm-hmm. Kind of discovery kind of music festival. So great bands, but, you don't hear them on the radio much. And but it was really good. But these poor bands, they're standing there. It's raining. It's 60 degrees, and there's like a dozen people, out in raincoats watching them. But then Saturday was a beautiful day, and the place was full then. But great festival. I'm looking forward to going back sometime. Cool.
Yeah, that sounds like a wonderful time. Do they have beer there?
Oh yeah, they had the beer fest, and a dozen different craft brewers from Maine and Massachusetts. And they also had Sierra Nevada pouring there, and Ommegang. But then a lot of local favorites like Baxter and Guillen's and Sebago.
Now you've also started up a consulting business, a brewery consulting business.
I'm attempting.
Were you out there for consulting business with a brewery, or just for?
No, for this I was
the famous person tour. Or?
Yeah, this was strictly a famous person kind of tour.
Uh-huh.
I was the keynote speaker at their at the beer fest, and gave a short history of American craft brewing, kind of what shaped America's taste in beer, and beer perception up through Prohibition and into the recent history. And so it was well received, and there's certainly the beers there in Maine are the equal of any here in California. I mean, they're some really good IPAs, double IPAs, triple IPAs, such as we're having today. I mean, it's quite tasty.
Nice to hear. Today we're talking with Ken from Device Brewing about what it takes to get your Nano off the ground, and we did the previous show. We talked about kind of the before the implementation thing, all the stuff you need to do before you really, put drop one of beer into the fermenter. And for this show, I want to talk about kind of the implementation. Now you've found your building, you've filed your paperwork. Here's your nitty gritty, getting started, the whole thing rolling. Getting beer fermented, getting beer out there. Where did you go? You've got your your paperwork filed. How do you go from there? Now, you got ABC approval quickly. You got your TTB approval. You've got your lease. You got your building. When did you order your equipment? When did you decide to do that? I would be hesitant to order equipment without a building and everything else in place.
Yeah, I didn't order anything until I had the building.
Okay.
I had a lot of models, a lot of different configurations of different, size brew houses. I was looking at 3-barrel brew houses. I briefly looked at larger and realized I was way out of my price range.
Because you had budgeted $30,000 for the whole thing to get started. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. Really, the next step was to start getting equipment in there, start piecing everything together. There still was, even though there was quite a bit of infrastructure in that building, there was still quite a bit of work to be done in the building to suit it to my needs. And so, before anything was in there, I went in. First thing I did was I just cleaned everything up, got a fresh coat of paint on the walls.
All the dead rats out of there. And
clean out all the dead rats.
Cockroaches.
Get the place cleaned up and get a fresh coat of paint on it.
I mean, anything that was used for food service has been sitting a while, probably full of cockroaches and rat droppings.
Yeah, we saw a couple dead cockroaches. Not as many as I might have expected. And actually, I have a neighbor who is an exterminator, came by and sprayed, and haven't seen any since. So
there you go.
That's been good. But at any rate, really getting in there and getting it cleaned up and really making sure all the facilities work. Making sure that walk-in cooler worked, the gas, the hot water heater, all those very important things that I didn't want to have to deal with later.
Yeah. So what kind of criteria did you use for buying your equipment, and what when you envisioned your brewery and how much money you had to spend, what kind of things were you thinking?
Well, for the fermenters, there was only one choice, and that was plastic. There's just no way around that. If you want to,
Are you going with 3-barrel fermenters?
Correct. Yeah, I have 3-barrel. They're about 115 gallons. Give me a little bit of headspace. One fermenter, plastic, shipped about $500. Now that's not outfitted with any of the fittings, which pretty much doubles the price. But you go get the comparable, even a single, non-jacketed but a single wall stainless steel fermenter. You're looking, several $1,000s for the same size fermenter from one of the sources.
Okay.
So the criteria was I had to go with plastic, and so then became kind of the engineering feat of how am I going to temperature control these?
Okay.
And that's really where I think the internet is your friend. I mean, the internet's your friend through all of this, but getting on the forums, seeing what people are doing. There's a lot of nano breweries out there. There's a lot of people doing very, very clever things. And so then at that point, it was a matter of designing that system. That was one of my biggest concerns, because temperature control during fermentation that's really key.
Yeah,
that's huge. And if you have a system that's not very reliable, then your beer is going to suffer. And so I was really looking into how am I going to build these things, what materials am I going to use, what equipment am I going to use, how am I going to insulate it, how am I going to control it, how am I going to crash it. These are all very important questions that need answering.
So what did you come up with?
Well, what I built was my friend Jack helped me build the boxes out of light gauge steel studs. And we built up 4x4 footprint by 8 feet tall. And on the top, we installed some window air conditioning units, 8,000 BTU. Our friends at CoolBot did the calc on our size and said, this is the size air conditioning unit you want. I was looking at a smaller one, and they said, no, 8,000 BTU is what you want, and R20 insulation.
Okay.
So, I've got 4.5 inches of rigid foam insulation inside. It's got some sheathing on the outside just to add some kind of some rigidity to it. And those were no easy tasks to build. Those were well over a month and a half of just work on getting those right.
Wow.
But it was important to me to get that right because that's where the beer ferments.
Yeah.
And I can't afford stainless steel and glycol.
All right. Well, and the thing I found is, every time I'd look at the price of something and I'd say, God, I can't afford that. I've got a cheaper way to do that. I can do it myself. And then you look at the time involved, and the sooner you get brewing, the cheaper it was. And I've been telling everybody, building out this new facility that we did, the sooner we fill that facility up to capacity, the cheaper it was to build. The longer we take to do that, the more expensive it was.
Yeah.
So I need to ramp up capacity rapidly, and that's something that I think people don't take into account, because you're always looking, I could save a few bucks, I can and I'm sure it crossed your mind, the amount of labor you put into it. Could you have just done some side job for your regular career, made some money, and then paid for something else? Sometimes I think we try and save money by doing a lot of stuff ourselves, and sometimes it doesn't pay off.
Yeah, I would like to have a lot of that time back.
Yeah,
that would have been nice. And you're absolutely right. I was working 50 hours a week on my day job through all this, and it was only about a month and a half ago that I went to a half-time status at 20 hours a week. And I certainly could not do this with a full-time job. You just can't do it. You almost can't do it with a part-time job as well.
Right.
But the reality is
a full-time job.
A brewery is full-time plus. I mean, you're not going to leave your 40-hour-a-week job, open a brewery, and work less than 40 hours a week.
Right.
You're going to work 60 hours a week. You're going to work 70, maybe more. And it's just... And then the thing that I think that people don't necessarily understand is that when you own your own business, the switch is never off. You never punch out and forget about it till the next day. That goes away very quickly.
Yeah, I was on the drive out to the brewery today. I was wondering to myself when it would be that there would be a time when everything was running well on its own and didn't really require my input and was generating enough revenue where I could do something other than stress about the brewery all day long. And I was wondering when that would be, and the answer in my mind was, well, it may never be.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Ken Grossman at Sierra Nevada, he's in there every day, and he, I mean, that is still full-time for him.
Yeah. It's something else. It's a lot of work. Even when, and it doesn't matter big or small. I think all that is still there. Doesn't matter.
Well, when you're sourcing equipment as well, one of the things you want to think about is there are multiple sources for everything. Typically, don't forget that there is not just one place to get something. Maybe your threaded adapters for your tri-clamps are cheaper here, but your hose barb adapters are cheaper over there, and your butterfly valves are cheaper at this place. There's no shame. There's no shame in shopping around. Multiple sources. There's a lot of good suppliers out there. It's hard to find some of them. It's not as easy as you might think, and you're certainly not going to find much of that stuff on on Amazon. There's specialty items, and they're
Although it's funny, I was able to get some stainless parts off Amazon.
Nice.
Prime shipping, so it came within 2 days for free. And then one of them, the threads were messed up on one of them. I'm like, oh my God. So I filled out the thing to send it back to Amazon, and it just responded, it's like, you're a good customer, don't worry about it, we'll send you another one. Just keep the other piece. Don't send it back. I'm like, oh, okay. So I thought that was interesting. So check out all the spots, all the possible prices. Like Ken's saying, I found the same thing. I'd be ordering fittings to hook up a new tank, and it'd be like, I can save $50 here, or I can save $200 there. But just by breaking it up, even with shipping, you gotta. It takes time though. You gotta, and this is what my evenings consisted of. From 11 p.m. till 3 in the morning, it's browsing sites and comparing the price of the shopping list and getting stuff, and it's like, okay, I saved $500 by those couple hours spent just investigating, it's surprising what you'd save. And I'm like, all right, I just paid myself $250 an hour by doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and that's where the bigger the size, you can sometimes drive some good pricing, and it's on everything. There are a few things that there's only one vendor. That's the only person you get it from. Take it or leave it. It can be difficult. So you ended up going with our fine sponsor, Blickman Engineering, right? BlickmanEngineering.com. Blickman with 2 N's. The people innovating your brew day.
Yes.
Go check them out. Fine sponsor. Had been sponsoring us for
maybe 5 years.
Five, at least 5 years.
Yeah.
And Blickman and his crew, fantastic guys. So go check them out. Send them an email telling them how much you appreciate them taking care of your brew day. All right, so you went with Blickman Engineering, and you got 4 55-gallon kettles. What's the platform you've put it on? Is it
well, Blickman recommended stock pot stoves. Mm-hmm. They're 90,000 BTUs each, and so it's a single tier. It's not one stand. It's just 3 stock pot ranges.
What do those run you?
About $450. In Sacramento, I was able to actually get them from a local restaurant supply.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
And so there was no shipping involved. They just delivered them.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was nice. They hooked right up to the gas supply fairly easily. And then I have a 4th stand that was just we built ourselves out of some of the leftover steel framing that we had for the fermentation boxes. Built up a 4th one just for the whirlpool vessel, so it's at the same height as the rest of them. Looks nice. Now they're great kettles, and I use them at home, and I have been for some time now. And so actually, my confidence level with that particular arrangement was very high because I knew there's no surprises here, really. At least not on the kettles. It's the same system. It's just a much bigger volume, and so that helped to actually give me a lot of confidence going into that system because I already had a lot of experience with that system and, of course, really good results.
Mm-hmm. Well, and let's do this. Let's take a short break. And when we come back, I want to hear about a little bit more on your sequence of ordering your equipment. Maybe you can speak a little bit to financing, things like that. And a little more in depth in that, and we'll do that right after this.
When you hear Blickman Engineering, think innovation, passion, quality, and customer service. Blickman gear is designed by brewers to give you a sense of pride in your equipment. At Blickman, they know what makes brewing a pain and build gear that makes it fun. Like the intuitive beer gun, a completely different approach to filling bottles. The Therminator Wort Chiller, a new take on a plate chiller that's sized for flow, performance, and the high groundwater temps homebrewers face every day. The Brewmometer, a brilliant weldless thermometer design with brewing parameters right on the dial. The Autosparge, ultimate simplicity for preventing an overflow or running your mash tun dry. And much more, like the modular top-tier brewing stand, conical fermenters, and their Boilermaker brew pots. With more cutting-edge equipment coming soon, keep up with the latest from Blickman at BlickmanEngineering.com and stay on the cutting edge.
Hey, my brewing brothers and sisters, this is Jamil and I love a bold, hoppy beer, one that spits resin in your face and makes you cry, uncle. There are a lot of great hoppy beers out there, but at Heretic, we want to make something as bold, dank, and resiny as possible. We use hops at every chance we get, including multiple dry hop additions. The result is Heretic Evil Cousin. This light golden, 8% Imperial IPA has an easy malt character that helps take the edge off the massive bittering, but it takes a back seat to the in-your-face hop character. We make sure this beer finishes dry so the hops can jump out and slam you in the taste buds. If you can't get enough hoppy goodness, Evil Cousin is your cup of tea. Cheers.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
Back to the two guys that know how to turn beer into beer. This is Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. We're talking about all the interesting stuff that Ken's done to get himself set up and his great beers. He shared some beers with us, and those were bottled with a Blickman beer gun, huh?
That's right.
Yeah, you were saying some of them were a while ago that you brewed those and bottled those, and
no oxidation there.
Yeah, I didn't notice anything. And you were saying you just go heavy on the CO2 when you're filling those things, and yeah, I thought those were really good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have questioned any sort of date on them or anything.
Now, do you bottle most of your product, or do you keg it?
We haven't started bottling yet.
Okay.
We're just kegging.
Okay.
Yeah, hand bottling is just not viable for a brewery of any size. I mean,
Right.
I know people who do it. I'm just like, you're insane. Unless it's a really expensive beer that you can charge a high premium for.
Right.
The labor costs, you always got to figure labor costs into things, and I think people don't. They're just, they're so passionate about it, they're willing to do it for free, and they don't realize that, that needs to be charged for.
I looked into a mobile bottler because that's the obvious choice.
Mm-hmm.
Their minimum number of cases to show up exceeds my capacity at any one time. So I can't actually utilize a mobile bottler at this time. I said, well, I could line up a bunch of kegs. And they said, no, we don't do that anymore. They said, it's got to come off a Bright. I said, well, my Bright tank's 3 barrels. And so they said, oh, well, he was very nice. The gentleman I spoke with was very nice. He said, well, I definitely look forward to doing business with you when you've got the larger, 7 or 15 barrel.
You're talking to Ron Gregerson?
Of course.
Yeah, Ron is a super nice guy.
Very nice guy.
I think that one of the main reasons he's successful is because his customer service is, bar none. He's very, very open and, very honest and very, very fair. I think that really, he runs his business quite well, I think. All right, so you were setting up your Blickman gear. You went with the 4 kettles, and you went on the
stock pot burners.
The stock pot burners,
Yep.
and kind of in a horizontal row. And where'd you go from there? And how's all that working for you? What would you do differently, or what? Describe the rest of the setup and your thought process in the setup, and the whole thing from chilling to filling to fermenting to everything else.
Well, after my very first brew day, I realized I needed a better system for moving the wort and the water. Mm-hmm. And the problem is that I use more beer quick disconnects on my Silbraid hose on my home system, which are great. One hand clips right on, no problem. Tri-clamp's a little different story.
Okay.
Tri-clamp is 2 hands, and when you've got big thick gloves on, or if you're in a state of panic, tri-clamps can be challenging.
They're one-handed. You just got to know how to do them. Right?
I haven't learned yet.
Yeah.
So, but I do use gravity to get them to lock on, and then I do get on with one hand, but I'm typically holding the hose with the other hand, or whatever I'm trying to connect. So yeah, they're so maybe I do know, but they took a minute to get used to.
Yeah.
At any rate, so what I did was after the very first brew day, I placed an order for probably another $1,200 or $1,300 of components. Got a bunch of 3-way valves, got a bunch
okay.
more, some ball valves for throttling. And what I did was I basically have every single hose. So I tripled probably the number of hoses I had. And Silbraid's not cheap either. It's about $14 a foot. But I set up every hose I have is set up at once. And then all I do is turn levers to move the water, to move the product. And it really made life a lot easier. That was a big improvement in the system. But for the 4 kettles is because I do multi-batch. I would only have 3 if it was just a single batch. There would be no need for the 4th. But as soon as I'm done with the boil, I transfer that over to the whirlpool vessel. It's just a dedicated whirlpool vessel. Whirlpool it, let it settle out, then I start the transfer and the chill. For the chill, what I do is I actually have 2 plate chillers, and with a jumper going from the out of the first one to the end of the second one.
Okay.
And on the initial pass, I'm running just your basic tap water through. And in the summer now, it's about 85 degrees, believe it or not.
Right.
So it's very warm. So it's certainly not going to get you to pitch temperature.
Right.
So I run it through that, and that knocks me down to about 95 degrees. And then the second one, I've got 2 cold water reservoirs sitting in my walk-in cooler at about 35 degrees. And I've got a sump pump in there, and I just run a loop. And so I just run a loop through the second one. It doesn't have to actually work very hard because it's already coming in at probably 95 degrees. And so I can actually get a pretty high flow rate and transfer in at 65, 70 degrees. No problem. I can transfer in cooler if I want to. But I usually bring it in about 65 degrees.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And since I multi-batch as well, I tend to bring the first 2 batches in a little colder.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I don't want to move the fermenter and change. I don't want to, tear everything apart. I want to leave the system closed and sanitary. And so I'll bring the first 2 batches in on the cool side. And then by the end of the day, with all that heat that's in the brewery, by the time I bring the 3rd batch in, I bring it in a little higher, a little more at pitch temp. And then I pitch.
Well, and now, how long is it taking you to fill a 3-barrel fermenter from start to finish?
Well, from the time I fill the hot liquor tank in the mash tun with cold water to the time I pitch the yeast, I've got it down to probably about 11 hours straight with no breaks. The setup before that's usually at least an hour or 2. I always think I'm going to walk in, turn the lights on, and hit the burners, and it never works that way. And then cleanup's really important. You leave a mess behind, it's a worse mess to clean up.
Yeah.
And you don't want to leave sticky wort on the floor either. And you don't want to invite any unwanted friends.
No wonder
in.
your beers are nice and clean and well fermented.
Yeah.
So, all told, I think that the brew day typically is running 16 to 18 hours, start to finish.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's a gross of 3 barrels of wort, about 183 gallons. And then what are you netting out of that?
I get 95 gallons out of that.
95. Yeah. What am I talking about? Yeah. 31 times 3. Yes.
Yeah. I get about 93 to 95 gallons.
And what are you netting? You're netting that out of that?
That's
your net fermented product after dropping dry hops and trub and yeast and all that. You end up losing 10% of your beer.
How do those plastic fermenters work for you for dropping yeast and all that?
Well, very well.
Oh, good. So they've got the standard size, standard taper cone, or is it a little shallower?
I think it's 55 degrees. It's not a 60-degree cone, but I have it's a 2-inch female at the bottom, and so I have a 2-inch female to 2-inch, or 2-inch male to 2-inch tri-clamp, and then I use a reducing elbow to 1.5, and then then that puts me into my 1.5-inch butterfly valve.
Okay.
And that's what I pull the yeast out of with. It works quite well. And I have a racking port off the side.
Okay.
And then I've got on the top, I've got a bulkhead with a 1.5-inch male to 1.5-inch tri-clamp where I put in my rotating CIP spray ball so that I can clean and sanitize through the top. and then I use that same port after I'm done sanitizing. Then I put on my blow-off hose, which I found it tends to just want to blow out of the lid anyway, because those lids are not. You can't get a good seal on those.
Okay.
But you just screw them down nice and tight, and a little of the corrosion finds its way out. But I tend to clean that up right away.
Cool. All right, let's take a short break. When we get back, we'll get into more of all this interesting details on setting up your Nano brewery after this.
When you hear Blickman Engineering, think innovation, passion, quality, and customer service. Blickman gear is designed by brewers to give you a sense of pride in your equipment. At Blickman, they know what makes brewing a pain and build gear that makes it fun. Like the intuitive beer gun, a completely different approach to filling bottles. The Therminator Wort Chiller, a new take on a plate chiller that's sized for flow, performance, and the high groundwater temps homebrewers face every day. The Brewmometer, a brilliant weldless thermometer design with brewing parameters right on the dial. The Auto Sparge, ultimate simplicity for preventing an overflow or running your mash tun dry. And much more, like the modular top-tier brewing stand, conical fermenters, and their Boilermaker brew pots. With more cutting-edge equipment coming soon, keep up with the latest from Blickman at blickmanengineering.com and stay on the cutting edge.
Hi, I'm Jason Harris, the proud owner here at Keystone Homebrew Supply. We're thrilled to be entering our 20th year of supplying this great industry, and to show you, the Brewing Network Army, how much we appreciate your support, we're offering you 10% off your first order on our website, KeystoneHomebrew.com. Just use coupon code BNARMY at checkout, and I'll get your order out the same day. My goal at Keystone Homebrew Supply has always been to have a complete supply of everything a brewer could want. When you place your order online or when you come into our store, it's our goal to have everything on your list and more. One aspect of KeystoneHomebrew.com that we're really excited about is the ability to fulfill customers' exact grain bills. Do you hate to wait? Keystone Homebrew Supply can get your precious yeast and hops to you within just one day if you live between Connecticut and Virginia, and within 2 days east of the Mississippi. KeystoneHomebrew.com. Coupon code BNARMY. I'm Jason Harris, and I approve this message.
Tin, Getting tired of that same old handcrafted beverages day after day? Are you looking for something with more diversity than your normal beer? Fellow BN Army member Michael Fairbrother, owner of Moonlight Meadery, is reviving an entire beverage category, mead.
The meads at Moonlight Meadery are all handcrafted from the finest honey on the market and are perfect for any occasion, like weddings, baby showers, or...
Excuse me? Mead is not your average girly drink, mister, and Moonlight Meads can be enjoyed anytime, anywhere. Football games with the guys.
Yeah.
Barbecues with the guys.
Yeah.
Operating power tools with the guys.
Yeah. Actually, sir, that's really dangerous.
Good point, son.
Next time you have something to celebrate or are just looking for a new tasting experience, pick up a bottle of mead from Moonlight Meadery. Now in 21 states, making over 60 varieties of mead from dry, semi-sweet to sweet.
Break out of that craft beer lull. Grab a bottle of Moonlight Mead. Can't find some? Then ask. No, make that demand some.
Yeah!
What'd you get? More brewing ingredients?
Yep. You know what I love about Brewmaster's Warehouse?
The $6.99 shipping?
Well, yeah, but...
Oh, the in-store classes for beginning brewers.
Yeah, that's cool, but...
Oh, the Brew Builder. Creating and saving your recipes online is awesome!
No, yes, but...
The cheese-making supplies.
No.
Oh, the wine-making supplies. Oh, the distilling equipment and liquor flavorings.
All that stuff is awesome, yes, but what I really love is that the guy who runs it is totally hot. And that Brew Builder software is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Brewmaster's Warehouse brings you flat rate shipping on great equipment and ingredients to make beer, wine, cheese, and spirits at brewmasterswarehouse.com. And if you're in Georgia, stop by Brewmaster's Warehouse Monday through Saturday from 10 to 6. Visit brewmasterswarehouse.com today because it's totally hot.
Oh, yeah.
A vial of White Labs yeast is the key to your best beer. When you open a vial of White Labs yeast, you're giving your beer its best chance for a perfect fermentation. In addition to their already incredible variety of yeasts, White Labs is proud to announce WLP 90, San Diego's super yeast, now available year-round. WLP 90 is super clean, super fast fermenting, with low esters and has a neutral flavor and aroma profile. It's alcohol tolerant and highly flocculent. For more of the latest White Labs news, click over to whitelabs.com, where you can read reviews of yeast, learn in the lab section, and join the customer club. And if you should find yourself in San Diego, White Labs has a brand new training facility for craft brewers and home brewers alike. Whitelabs.com. Discover yeast, nutrients, enzymes, and more for commercial breweries, home brewers, and homebrew stores. White Labs. It's all in the vial.
Hi, I'm Jamil Zainasheff, and in addition to my work on the Brewing Network, I write the Style Profile column in every issue of Brew Your Own magazine.
Hi, I'm Sean Paxton, and when I'm not prepping for the Home Brewed Chef on the Brewing Network, you can find me writing articles on how to cook with your home brew for Brew Your Own magazine.
Greetings, cretins. This is John Palmer, and when I'm not writing for Brew Your Own, I'm reading it.
John Palmer, Sean Paxton, Jamil Zainasheff. If you love listening to them on the Brewing Network, you'll love reading their articles, tips, and recipes in the pages of Brew Your Own magazine. Join Jamil, John, and Sean 8 times a year in Brew Your Own. And when you subscribe to BYO on the Brewing Network website, half of your subscription price goes right back to the BN to support great beer and food programming. So sign up for Brew Your Own magazine through the BN website today so you can listen and read your way to better homebrew.
Back to your hosts, Jamil Zainasheff and John Palmer. Putting the testicles in technical. This is Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. We're talking great things in nano brewing here. All right, so you were telling us about your brew day and what your setup is now. Now, kind of walk us through, the very beginning, the first brew, getting everything set up. I mean, tell us more about your, the actual implementation, going from I've filled out my paperwork to now I'm selling beer. How did that happen?
How painful was it?
Well, it's extremely painful. There's a really, really big piece.
Speaking of extremely painful.
AdamandEve.com.
No. I'll get to that later.
Oh, okay.
Later. I couldn't resist.
The king of segues.
Yeah.
Well, a big piece that we didn't touch on.
Speaking of big pieces.
It's a really huge component. We overlooked the marketing aspect of it, which was well before the first brew day. There was a lot of marketing involved because there's really no sense in purchasing pallets of grain and signing contracts for hops and ordering pitches of yeast and all these things before you've got customers, and that's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard to do because you're trying to convince them that what you're giving them now is what they're going to get later.
Right.
That's the challenge.
So you were taking homebrew beer into facilities and saying, "Here, try this. This is what I'm going to have available in a couple months." Or
precisely.
Okay.
But it's packaging. If you bring it in looking like homebrew, they're going to treat you like homebrew, and there's nothing wrong with homebrew. But when you're in a sales call,
right,
you don't want it to look or sound or smell or taste like homebrew. And again, homebrew is fabulous beer, but there's an impression. You walk in with a labelless bottle or some torn label bottle with no identity, and you're saying, this is what I'm doing. It's going to be a harder sell.
Yeah.
So well before that, my friend Micah Sager, who does outstanding artwork, he did our labels for us. And what he did is he got us into a format where the label itself is very, very explicitly states this is not for sale.
Okay.
You know, and then that way there's no issue of, what are you doing? You haven't had label approval yet. We got our labels, took some Avery labels to Kinko's, and on their color laser printer, just print off sheet after sheet after sheet out of labels, and then painstakingly cut those labels out with a sharp blade and a straight edge. Paper cutters don't actually work as well with those, by the way.
Fiskars, they have the sliding cutter.
Oh, those work really well. Yes, but at any rate, you know, cutting my own labels, reclaiming bottles, cleaning them, sanitizing them. The delabeling is a pain. My wife helped me with that. Getting the bottles ready, getting them clean, getting them labeled, sanitized, filled. Used the beer gun to fill all of them, and it worked out well. Nobody knew that people said. A lot of people were kind of, well, wait, so you're open or you're not open? Well, we're not open yet. Well, then where did you get this beer? And I said, well, we're brewing it on our pilot system. Oh, okay. Well, how did you bottle it? How are you getting bottling? I said, well, we bottle ourselves. Wow, this tastes great. So there's a lot of time spent. You know, what I did was in my master spreadsheet, which I've got multiple copies, in backup drives and things of that nature. Yeah. That master spreadsheet, I've got, all the prospective accounts. Who are the targets? Who do I want to go talk to? And they're geographically, there's a strategy to it. You have to look at your map, look at what's out there, who's out there, who do we want to talk to, where do we want to be, and you basically need to create those relationships. Go talk to those people. They're all people. Got to make friends with them, and then get them to trust you. Get them to trust that what you're going to deliver when the rubber hits the road is what you've already given them. And it's a challenge to convince people of that. Yeah. But if you're bringing them a good product, they have a little more faith in you, I think. Yeah.
But that friend making, that must have sucked for you, Jamil, huh?
Speaking about sucking, no. I think that that all makes sense, and especially the part about looking and behaving professional and having definitely a professional presentation. It makes a huge difference. You go in dirty, stinky with some flip top growler and here, drink this. You're probably not going to do so well. I mean, it really is. People will judge your beer by the person that brings it in. So you need to be real careful about that. And that whole sales thing. That's a real chore.
Yep.
And don't be caught without a business card.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I'm terrible at that. I do not carry business cards. People ask me all the time. I'm like, I don't carry business cards. And then the business cards we have are still for the old address. I'm like, I can't be bothered to make business cards. It's like, get me on the internet. Like, if you can't remember our business name, then you can't look up my email address.
Well, we also needed to build a fan base and let people know that we were coming. And that involved, first and foremost, was setting up a website. Because in today's world, I'm a firm believer that if you're doing anything in any kind of business, if you don't have the domain name, get it. Because
that was the first thing I did. I got the domain name.
You got to have the domain. And I think most people will judge your level of authenticity and your level of credibility based on whether or not you own the domain.
Yeah, right.
That's true.
You need your domain name. You need to have a website. You need to have Facebook. You need to have Twitter.
All of it.
You need to have that because people want to know and they want to look and they want to learn more. Right. And if you don't have that, then they're like, oh, that seems kind of sketchy. As soon as if you didn't have a building, that would be fine. Have a website. Oh my God, they're fly by night.
Well, and before you commit to any website or anything, you need to do your due diligence and find out that your name isn't going to come back and bite you.
Right.
And do your homework. We have a trademark on file with the patent office, and in fact, I initiated that trademark. I believe it was a year ago. I want to say it might have been in August of last year, so almost a year ago, and it just got finally published. And it took that long, and several hundreds of dollars. But you've got to know your name is is going to be something that you can stick with,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to go down the path very far and then have to change your name.
Right.
And then once I was fairly confident that the name was something original and something that no one else was doing. Then it was purchasing a domain name, setting up a website. We have devicebrewing.com,
Mm-hmm.
and we've got facebook.com/devicebrewing.
Mm-hmm.
We've got @devicebrewing. So we've covered the bases.
Yep.
And it was really good, because when you give someone a business card and you've got those elements on there, it's amazing. You can, on your analytics, you can see if you've done a lot of marketing that day, you're going to see a lot of hits on your website that night.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see the traffic coming in. You're going to see the refers. Where did it come from? A lot of it's direct.
Well, one thing about if you're going to be self-distributing, and you were talking about geographic, looking at the region and the area and having a plan for it. One of the most important things is, can you deliver beer to all of these people in a good pattern, or are you bouncing all around? One way over here, one way over there. You want to be able to do, okay, we can deliver this area on this day, this area on this day. Pick up our empties, things like that. If you don't plan that out, your labor costs on delivery becomes extremely high, and that's one of the ways that distributors actually make their money is by being smart about delivering and doing it efficiently and effectively. And that's a big part of where they make their profit. Because there's the amount of money that the distributors charge for distribution really just kind of balances out what you do when you self-distribute, because you can't do it as efficient as they can. You're not distributing a bunch of different brands.
Right.
So you're just running out there. So it's a break even, but the distributors actually make a big profit on it because they're efficient at it. That's the big difference. So you want to, like Ken's saying, be cognizant of where you're setting up accounts and how you're going to get to those accounts repeatedly. Because if you can't service those accounts, they're not going to pour your beer. They'll pour it once, and if they have trouble, keeping that handle, keeping that shelf space, just dries up instantly if you're not there. Got to keep going back.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is going there and saying hi.
Yeah. So have you done any other pouring nights at some of your accounts and so on?
Not yet. We're going to do a couple coming the first weekend in September in Sacramento. I've got actually 3 in a row, 3 nights in a row. That'll be a long weekend, but a fun one. And I'm really looking forward to it. And this business is very interesting, and I'm just learning a lot of these things for the first time. But it's a very small community when you get right down to it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody seems to know everybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't take very long, and you've kind of covered your area's beer scene.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you think your area is huge and has, a million people, you're right down to the beer scene, and you start to see a lot of the same faces and a lot of the key people. And it's good to get to know all those people. Collect their, get their business cards, keep them, because you're going to need to call somebody.
And don't screw anybody over, because eventually it'll come back around where you need that person.
That's right. And make friends with your neighbor brewers.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a brewery nearby me, and when I met them for the first time, hey, it's good to see you guys. Let's do this. Let's do this together. Let's make good beer. Let's keep Sacramento's beer scene growing and thriving.
Mm-hmm.
I don't look at them as competitors. I look at them as allies,
mm-hmm.
because I think we're stronger, as a unified community, rather than as competitors that are battling it out.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's plenty of drinkers out there. There's plenty of beer to be poured. There's plenty of room. We just need to promote the community and the culture of the craft beer industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I think Sacramento is on the up and up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think we're moving very quickly as well.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, and I'll tell you who else is moving quickly as well. AdamandEve.com. See, I had the perfect one earlier. Now
I gave you the up and up.
Yeah, up and up. I thought about that
for
one.
a situation well in hand, moving.
Yes, well in hand. If you want to have your situation well in hand, check out AdamandEve.com. They've got tens of thousands of items to help you get your situation well in hand. And for a limited time only, if you use the offer code Jamil, Jamil, my name, you can get 50% off just about any one of those items, those thousands of items. And they'll give you a choice of 3 free adult DVDs. You can choose from categories like anal, Asian, amateur, big breasts, big butts, chunky, ABC. What?
Yeah. You're doing alphabetical order.
TTB,
ABC. right. ABV, IBU. They got them all. And, anything that tickles your fancy, they probably got a DVD for it. So check it out. You get to choose. It's not just they're sending you the junk from the bottom of the bin. They actually get to choose from quite a few DVDs. And then you get a free extra gift. So essential. Only John and I talk about it in private. And free shipping on the whole thing. So one item, 50% off, and their pricing's pretty good. So 50% off that item. They just want to get you as a first-time customer. They know you're going to keep coming back. And then you get all this other stuff for free, the DVDs, the extra gift, the free shipping, and all at adamandeve.com. They even have a mobile site, so you can do it on your phone while you're perving out on the subway. adamandeve.com. Go check them out today. All right, let's take our last break, and then when we come back, we'll wrap up with a little bit more and some questions from the chat after this.
BN Army, HopTech has a great discount waiting for you. Do you often find it difficult to find specific specialty ingredients for your homebrew recipes? Well, listen to this. HopTech stocks 59 different grains to choose from, 39 varieties of pellet hops, and 8 kinds of whole leaf hops. And HopTech not only carries Y yeast and White Labs yeast for you, but also Fermentus, 04, 5, 6, 23, 33, and T58 Belgian yeast, plus Cooper's, Nottingham, and Windsor yeasts. Got your recipe ready to go? Pick up some great brew gear like new long and short sleeved shirts, games, and more. HopTech's new website is being updated every day with new items. If you don't see it, call the shop. They're open 6 days a week. BN Army and AHA members get a 10% discount, and active military personnel get 15% off. Visit HopTech.com today for great selection, great service, and a great discount. HopTech.com.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states. Plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small, single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy f***ing shit!
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
Tonight is the night.
We bring the creature to life, Dr. Blickmanstein?
Yes, J.P. Gore. Everything is perfect for my next fermented creation.
But Doctor, the storm is too far away. We'll never have enough power to isomerize the creature's alpha acid.
Yes, J.P. Gore, we will. For I have in my possession the Tower of Power.
Blickman's new Tower of Power is the evolution of automation. Control hot liquor, sparge, and mash temps like a pro. The Tower of Power is a high-quality gas-fired rim system that works with your current brewing setup. With ultra-precision, the tower can hold your mash to 1/2 of a degree Fahrenheit. Precision and repeatability. The Tower of Power is the answer to automatic, fast ramp times. See more at BlickmanEngineering.com. Bring your next creation to life with the Tower of Power.
Dr. Blickmanstein, with the Tower of Power, you can probably give me an afternoon at the pub to enjoy a pint.
Don't be silly, J.P. Gore. We have beer to brew.
When I order a beer, I want my server to know more about it than I do. I want someone who enjoys good beer and loves helping others enjoy it too. I want someone who knows how to pour a perfect pint for any beer style. I want a Cicerone. The Cicerone certification program is creating the type of people who help you enjoy great beer. Home brewers and craft beer lovers know beer is more flavorful and complex than ever, and it takes some serious knowledge to store and serve beer right. Cicerones know beer. There are 3 levels in the Cicerone program: Certified Beer Server, Certified Cicerone, and and Master Cicerone. Cicerones are truly the sommeliers of beer. The best beer locations have a certified Cicerone on staff. Relaxed and unpretentious, Cicerones are tested on storing and serving beer, beer styles, flavor and tasting, the brewing process and ingredients, and pairing food with beer. Learn more about your next beer guide at cicerone.org. Certified Cicerone, because it takes top talent to present a perfect pint.
All right, BN Army, it's trivia time. What's the only homebrew shop with over 1,000 recipe kits, $4.99 shipping on orders over $100, and is also home of the Wolf shirt? The one and only answer is Austin Homebrew Supply. For over 20 years, they've specialized in creating recipes such as the best-selling Texas Blonde Ale, Apocalypso, Hop Bomb 2.0, and Double Chocolate Stout. And they just recently unveiled their small grain kits that produce 1 gallon of beer. Visit austinhomebrew.com to browse their extensive catalog of equipment and ingredients. They also have mini clone recipes of your favorite commercial beers. They're the exclusive retailer of Brew Vent Yeast Fuel as well, Yeast Nutrient, and the all-new Bodybuilder. Follow Austin Homebrew Supply on Google Plus to participate in video hangouts on popular brewing topics. So visit austinhomebrew.com today and make sure you sign up for their weekly email with news and specials. Austin Homebrew Supply, austinhomebrew.com.
Back to the beer guys that make other beer guys look like wine guys. Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. We're talking the Device Brewing Nano setup. And Ken's been sharing with us a lot of the interesting stuff that's happened. And if you're listening live, stay tuned. We're going to talk about everything he would have done differently. Regrets, all while his wounds are nice and fresh.
Only one show for that?
I'll tell you what not to do.
It's only an hour.
I know. We could go long. Could go a couple hours on that one. Depends how much crying there is. You know, we got to wait for him to like catch his breath and start talking again.
I think it's weeping at this point.
Yeah, right. You don't have the strength to really cry. It's more just like murmuring and tears oozing out slowly. Yes. Do we have questions from the chat room?
We do. From the dark side, did Ken enter into hop contracts before opening or formulating his recipes using readily available hops?
I love that question. My goal was to stay away from the hard to get hops, but it's near impossible to completely stay away from them.
And other hops are becoming hard to get. All of a sudden, like Cascades, no, you got to contract Cascades. We're out. Centennial, oh, we're out. Chinook, oh, we're out. Everything.
Wow. Yeah, it's tough. Yes, I do have a hop contract. Yes, I did enter into my hop contract quite a while ago. But I actually contracted with the hops that I knew I wanted to use after I'd finalized my recipes. I was happy with the recipes. I even contracted for hops that are considered readily available because you never know what's going to become popular. Mm-hmm. So I went ahead and contracted with the hops that I knew I wanted. The hardest part really was how much to contract, because now you've got to project, well, how much am I going to need next year? How much am I going to need the following year? That was the hardest part. So either one of two things is going to happen. Either I'm going to be setting up an online store for selling Simcoe by the pound, or I'm going to be spot purchasing hops that I need. Chances of me hitting it the nail on the head is going to be slim to none.
Mm-hmm.
Username wants to know, how do you clean and sanitize your plastic fermenters?
That's a good question. You got to, use the typical chemicals is what I use. I use an alkaline cleaner. It's PBW by 5 Star.
Yep.
I use that on a loop with a spray ball. I have a very nice pump that I've purchased from CPU Systems. It's a very nice pump. It pushes a lot of fluid, and I can get a really, really high pressure spray going on in there. And at any rate, the cleaning loop is the PBW. That's for the heavy soil, and then I come back in with an acid clean, and then finish it off with some Sani clean.
Mile High Brewer asks, did you Ken get your TTB and ABC permits before ordering your equipment?
You can apply for them. They'll tell you that they won't give them to you until you're ready to brew, that they can see the equipment and see that you're ready to actually start brewing. They don't want somebody setting up like a shell company that isn't really going to brew. The feds won't bother looking, but the ABC will, at least in California, and they want to actually see the equipment there. That's what I was told, and that's what I've seen every time.
Ken, what was your experience?
Well, my experience was that that I got the ball rolling with the TTB and the ABC well before purchasing equipment.
Well before meaning?
A couple months.
But you got the ball rolling, right. But did you actually have your permit assigned, issued before the equipment? Did the ABC come and check out your spot?
No, shaking his head.
Huh. Well, yeah.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they're supposed to do a field check on every brewery still in California.
It's probably they probably are going to.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
but I've done everything above board, and so
yeah, you told them you were whether they came out and did it, that's their business.
Right.
But usually what they'll do is they'll say, "Oh, tell us when you think you're about 2 weeks away from brewing, and we'll come out and we'll look." They'll come out and they check to see that you have posted your notice. They check the surrounding area to see if it's as you described. And then they come back to see that the equipment is there like you described. And then
they do
the notice.
They did come out to verify that I'd posted my notice.
Mm-hmm.
And they looked around the area to see that it was as I described it. They probably looked at my size and my capacity and said, this isn't a shell space. The guy's got 1,600 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure they'll be out at some point.
Yeah.
One last question, also from Mile High Brewer. What is the minimum number of cases for a mobile bottler, roughly?
I believe it was 180.
Yeah, something around that. And 180 of bombers is 12 barrels, I think.
What about funding? That's that's where my Jewish mind immediately goes. Like, friends and that's what I would do, right? Friends and family. What are other options for people that go? Well, I would love to, but
you don't go to your bar mitzvah money,
right? Yeah, all of my savings bonds.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, what do you do? I mean, you need $50,000. What do you do?
Well, it was a combination of cash on hand and as well as good credit, and I've definitely opened up a couple of 18 months zero interest credit lines and things like that, and we've had a lot of investor interest. We've had a lot of people who have said, how much do you need? We'll fill out a check. Let's do this. I want a part of this. And
the problem is they want too big a part.
Well, that's the thing. And my wife and I have really been very pretty steadfast on our position with that, and that this is a small arrangement. We believe that we can do it without bringing on investors.
Mm-hmm.
We are launching a Kickstarter. In fact, we may be launching tonight.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the point.
And what's the Kickstarter going to do for you? What do you expect to get out of it? What's it going to? How much does Kickstarter take of that cut?
Well,
they take cut and all that.
I forget offhand. I believe it's 5%,
mm-hmm.
and then Amazon Payments, which processes, takes I believe 3 to 3.5%,
mm-hmm.
And then the IRS will treat it as income.
Mm.
So you will pay income tax on the full deal.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to pay for the rewards,
mm-hmm.
and in some cases shipping.
And what are the rewards you're going to offer with your Kickstarter?
Well, it's everything as simple as a couple of coasters or some pint glasses,
mm-hmm.
Or a growler, T-shirts, things like that, all the way up to we'll throw a party with a catered party with food and drinks. There's a level where you can hang with us on a brew day for as long or as little as you like. I wouldn't expect anyone to hang for 18 hours.
Right.
And we're going to have a wall of fame in our brewery. what exactly that Wall of Fame looks like. We haven't really decided on the design of it, but it's going to be a tribute to all the people, friends, family, brewers, everybody who has really helped us, because we've gotten a lot of help.
Mm-hmm.
And you asked, what is the Kickstarter going to go to? Frankly, now that we're in production,
mm-hmm.
When we shot our video,
mm-hmm.
we hadn't started production. We were still building out.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't realize at that time really how long a brew day was going to take.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I ran a timeline out based on what I was doing on my pilot system. I tried to figure it as close as I could, but just like everything else, you just don't know until you start.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, as much as I love my system, multi-batching on it's very challenging. It makes for a very long day.
Mm-hmm.
So our primary goal is to get a 3-barrel system so we can fill those 3-barrel fermenters in one brew.
Mm-hmm.
And then we need more kegs.
Mm-hmm.
We need a van or a truck to deliver them.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that.
So what do people do to find it? You just search Kickstarter for Device Brewing, or?
Yeah, if you went to Kickstarter.com and searched, even search brewery, all the breweries will come up. If you search Device Brewing on Kickstarter, you'd find us very, very surely.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And what's your website?
DeviceBrewing.com.
There you go. All right. Any more questions?
No, that's it. Thanks to our chatters.
All right, great. Another great show, and like I said, if you're listening live, stay tuned. We're gonna make Ken cry here and have him recount all the horrors of what he did wrong and what he'd do differently, and it'll be great advice for you if you're considering opening up your own Nano. So stay tuned for that. If you're enjoying this kind of programming, blame it on BlickmanEngineering.com. Blickman with 2 N's, our fine sponsor. Tell them that you appreciate that they pay for this show so you don't have to. Check out adamandeve.com and check out the Brewing Network store. There's lots of goodies there. There's hats, shirts, the really cool double wall stainless steel growlers, all sorts of goodies there. When you buy those things, the profit goes straight to the bottom line on the Brewing Network. Really helps out keeping the shows on the air. So check that out today. BrewingNetwork.com/store. Until then, brew strong, everybody.
Brew strong.